my channel, Crystal Grid Art. Today's video is an in-depth look at crystal cleansing and charging. I'll share with you different methods on when and how to cleanse your crystals. I'll also share with you some insights as to what not to do when cleansing your crystals. First, it's important to ask yourself, is cleansing your crystals even really necessary? I like to think of cleansing crystals as more of a ritual people choose to use as a spiritual practice. Cleansing your crystals can be comforting, grounding. But no, not all crystals do need to be cleansed. In fact, some crystals should never be cleansed. For some crystals, cleansing is actually a part of their purpose. Those crystals never need to be cleansed because cleansing a cleansing crystal would be redundant. The Mohs scale of mineral hardness is something that you may want to refer to if you're not sure about how to cleanse your crystals. The Mohs scale is tested by the scratch resistance from one mineral to another. It rates from 1 to 10, 1 being the softest and 10 being the hardest. A soft crystal like selenite, which is around a 2 on the hardness scale, will begin to erode if it's soaking in water. It's important to remember that certain crystals cannot sit in water because it will slowly break them down. If your crystal is low on the scale, it's more likely to scratch, flake, or crumble, so they should be handled and stored with care. No crystal is a bad crystal or has bad energy in it. If you are a person who is very sensitive to energy and a crystal doesn't necessarily feel good to you, either it's just not meant for you or you might be picking up on the energy of the person who last handled the crystal. If that energy does not feel good to you, I would recommend cleansing and charging that crystal. I would also recommend that you send that person who last handled the crystal some compassion and well wishes on continuing their journey as part of your way of cleansing your crystal. I believe that it's a way of honoring your crystal's journey and respecting your crystal. Crystals are meant to be a friend to assist you through your journey. When that journey ends and a new owner comes along, they are ready to start fresh with you. Earlier, I mentioned charging or programming your crystals. When I program a crystal, I set an intention for that crystal. That intention can change or remain the same for as long as I keep that crystal. So, for example, this clear polished piece of quartz is my favorite crystal to use when I have a backache. I find its energy to be purifying and comforting and supportive. So when I cleanse the crystal, I charge it with those energies. I place it on my back, and usually I feel better. This is a natural amethyst cluster that I always use for headaches. Anytime that I have a headache, I just place it touching my head and it instantly relieves my headache. That is what I use this crystal for, but someone else might see its use as something completely different. So when you are trying to figure out what your crystal should be used for, or any crystal, it's all intuitively driven. Its purpose can be unique to you. Okay. Now that I've given you my overview on cleansing, let's get started on some suggestions. Placing smaller crystals on top of crystal clusters or a polished crystal slice is an interesting and unique way of charging your crystal. by using other crystals. You could also use selenite, which is a crystal that has naturally cleansing properties and therefore never needs to be cleansed. I often use selenite to even cleanse myself. Selenite is relatively inexpensive and does all of the work for you. If you're interested in clearing a large space, you can typically find large logs of selenite, much larger than this one, for a reasonable cost. Crystallized sulfur acts in a similar way as selenite, but it's usually more expensive and very smelly. Running water is a wonderful option, especially if it's from a natural source like the ocean or a stream from a brook. If you're lucky enough to be close to a natural water source, it's hugely beneficial to your crystals. If you don't have that, you can simply run it under a tap. But of course, a natural water source is a better option. Salt water is what I like to use for mostly just my quartz crystals. I usually will use this method when I first purchase a crystal, and then other methods after that, unless that crystal continues to be of service to others in my ownership. You can burn white sage, Palo Santo, and incense. way you can heat essential oils. Himalayan salt lamps to purify and clear your space. White sage can create a lot of smoke very quickly. And the smell is not for everyone. It has a very strong odor that lingers for a long time, but it really does get the job done. Oftentimes, I'll pick a leaf off of a bundle and just burn white sage in small amounts. While you're at it, you may as well cleanse yourself and your space, which is called smudging. Make sure you're using a fireproof container. I use an abalone shell, but keep in mind it does burn the inside, taking away from its natural beauty. A stone smudging bowl might be a better option since the shell also heats up rather quickly. A natural feather. A natural feather can be used to fan the smoke when you're burning white sage. Palo Santo has a lighter, sweet scent. The Palo Santo that I own was purchased a couple of years ago, and although I love the smell, it was a bit challenging to burn. Recently, it has come to my attention that Palo Santo trees are endangered because of their popularity. For this reason, I would recommend looking into purchasing from a safe distributor that is actively involved in preserving these trees and selling only the Palo Santo wood and products from naturally fallen trees and branches. Or perhaps hold off from making a purchase that you are unsure of until they are better protected and preserved. That way you can enjoy Palo Santo and its benefits with a clear conscience. Pink Himalayan salt lamps are quite heavy, but I do enjoy them. You can purchase an electrical lamp that you can plug in, or I have one that holds a tea light. From what I understand, when the natural salt heats up, it purifies the air. Himalayan salt lamps have become quite popular. But my favorite to use is incense. Champa is a delightful smell. There are so many different types of incense to choose from, but Champa is one of my favorites. My other favorite is India Temple incense. It has a sweeter smell. And more frequently, this is the one that I love to burn. Other methods include using a bowl of salt, flowers, or herbs. Be careful if you bury a crystal in salt, not to put a soft crystal that could potentially get scratched in the process. If it's a hard crystal like quartz, I find burying in salt overnight to be a very effective way to cleanse. I recommend natural sea salt or pink Himalayan salt, not regular table salt if you can avoid it. This is sea salt. Flowers and herbs have a very soft energy and can really be like a day in the spa for a crystal. If my crystal is soaking in water, I'll sometimes put one or a few flowers in there to float around on the top of the water. It's such a visually appealing way to gently charge a crystal. If you have a garden, you could place your crystals in. You can put them there to absorb soothing plant energy, or bury them in the earth to soak up earth energy. Writing down words like love, health, or happiness, or symbols like a heart, and placing a crystal or a bowl with your crystal right on top is a very effective, quick, and simple way of programming your crystal. Sound therapy is not only cleansing for us, but also our crystals. Singing or humming, tuning forks, or any uplifting sounds are great for your crystals. I use singing bowls like the one I played in the beginning of this video. Sunlight and moonlight can be cleansing and also can charge crystals. The sunlight provides a forward-moving energy, while the moonlight provides a softer, more gentle energy. Be aware that leaving your crystal in direct sunlight can fade its color and is an intense method. If I ever do this, it's usually just for about an hour, sometimes less. Organite is a very powerful and fantastic way to cleanse not only your crystals, but your entire space. I highly suggest putting Organite all over your space to send positive cleansing energy everywhere in your crystal sanctuary. Organite is a handmade item that is made up of resin, different metals, and crystals. You can find wonderful artistry in Organite in local crystal shops or online. This is a charging plate made up of Organite that I can place my crystals on top of to charge them and cleanse them. I also use these Stump grids as a charging plate. I make these by hand. They're made out of real crystals and real wood. This one is made out of red jasper, amazonite, blue lace agate, and pyrite. It is a Celtic symbol that I created to represent being in alignment. stump grits are a concept I came up with because I just love the combination of the natural wood and natural crystals and the texture. I love the texture. It's really soothing. With any and all of these methods, I make time to center myself and send a message to my crystal of what my intention is. I may want to cleanse it, but also program it with a specific purpose to work with me on. Maybe the space I keep my crystal in is a home with family members or friends. I could use a crystal cluster to unify the energy of my space and send a message of closeness. I'll cleanse a crystal that feels right to me in that space and set the intention of tribe and togetherness within that crystal. It's a conversation between you and the mineral world. How can you work together? Crystals have earth energy consciousness. Getting in touch with your intuition without judgment is the key to understanding crystals and how they wish to be used. If you are drawn to the crystal, no matter what the reason, that's your indication that it wants to work with you. Allow your intuition to guide you, and not necessarily a book that tells you what it is to be used for. You decide that for yourself. It's between you and your mineral. One of my favorite ways to cleanse a crystal is by simply holding on to it and sending my intention directly into the crystal. I want to feel its energy and enjoy the perfection that all minerals are. I often meditate while holding a crystal. Reiki is a spiritual way of healing with just your touch. This is my way of using Reiki on my crystals. Scrying is an ancient method of receiving messages by looking into a crystal. If you have a crystal that is beautiful to look at, try setting aside at least 10 minutes to sit and stare into it. It can be incredibly calming and hypnotic. I encourage people to try it if they have difficulty with meditation. Having a focus like scrying with a crystal can soothe you into releasing your resistance with meditation. I found that the best crystal to use for scrying is any type of crystal with lots of inclusions. An inclusion is any material that is trapped inside a mineral during its formation. These suggestions and recommendations serve you and your crystals in your special journey together. Thank you for watching, and crystal blessings.